So let's talk about 5 popular designer bags that you won't see in my collection. Hello, and the warmest of welcomes to today's video. For those of you who haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Nick, glad to have you here. For those of you who have seen my face before, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you enjoy my videos. I put out videos roughly 3 times a week on a range of different topics, anywhere from fashion, some slightly more personal topics. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then please do head down, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell. I love chatting with you all. I'm all about living life loud, and what that means to me is being your authentic self, being proud to be you, and just celebrating who you are. Celebrating yourself and celebrating others. So, what are we going to talk about today? We are talking about 5 popular luxury bags that I would never purchase myself. Now, this is me by no means saying that they are a bad item, that they are ugly, that they're this, they're that. They just wouldn't work for me, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight as to the 5 that I would personally steer clear from myself and the reasons as to why. So if you own any of these, I hope you absolutely love them and I hope you get the use out of them. So let's get into it. Number 1, and this is a popular one that frequently finds itself on the list of first designer bags or bags to start your collection, and I am talking about the Prada re-edition in the nylon, in the shoulder bag style. Of course, you can get this as a bit of a multi-pochette as well, but I'm talking about the shoulder bag. This frequently finds itself on there because nylon is a very practical material. This is a reasonable price point for a luxury fashion house, sub £800, I believe. I think it's £790, comes in a range of different colours, and it's still fairly practical. Now, why wouldn't this work for me? To be honest, it's just the style of it. It's the shoulder bag that with a small handle that gets very tucked under your armpit. I could never wear that on my shoulder. I also think it would be a little bit kind of clumsy and awkward to wear as like a handheld. If I'm going to wear a shoulder bag, I would much prefer to wear a chain flat bag in some capacity, something that's slightly larger, and also where the handle is a little bit more flexible than this, because the way that this has been built into the style, it's almost mini hobo style, that I don't find to be the most practical thing for me. I also think it would be a little bit clumsy. Do let me know if you own this bag. Is it easy enough to get in and out of? Where I'm looking at it, I think it would be a little bit clumsy to get in and out of with that zip and trying to kind of open it and get in. I don't know how I would feel about it. It just wouldn't work for me. The size isn't quite right, the style isn't quite right. It's a beautiful item and you can get it in a range of different materials. I think there's a leather version as well. It's a great price point. I can see why it finds itself on the list of first designer bags, but it just isn't one that works for me, or would work for me, should I say. Next up, we have a bit of an it bag, and I cannot for the life of me understand why. I get that there's a part of a trend here, but I don't think this is a very appealing item. And this is the Louis Vuitton Coussin bag. Now, I know this has come around in the time of pillowy bags with that that plushness to them, that very plush leather. It looks to be beautifully crafted. I just don't find the shape massively appealing, this kind of pyramid structure with the 3 sections that you can see underneath when you flip the bag. The chain is a little bit bulky as far as I see it. Looks a little bit hardware store. Sure, it's beautifully made, but bit hardware store. And I think that particularly for the smaller size, the canvas strap, as much as it adds a bit of edge to it, I don't think the proportions work properly with the bag. I think you've got something that is trying to be too many things, and it's not doing any of them all that successfully as far as I'm concerned. It's trying to be a shoulder bag, it's trying to be a clutch, it's trying to be a edgy crossbody. I don't think it's doing any of them massively successfully. I think you can get better pieces from other brands for similar money. Maybe go to Bottega, I think they do it more successfully. Or if you're looking for something that's very pillowy, YSL is a great option for pillowy as well. So definitely some different things to think about. They do it in some beautiful colours, absolutely they do. It's just not a style that I think is massively successful in my opinion. However, I'm clearly wrong because it is very popular and people seem to be buying it left and right. So what do I know? And on the topic of trying to do too many things, let's go to a brand that you know I absolutely love. Let's talk about Mulberry, and I'm talking about the Mulberry Alexa. Now, the Alexa is a staple of the Mulberry brand. It's been around since 2010. I believe it was created in conjunction with model Alexa Chung, hence the namesake of the Mulberry Alexa. Now, this comes in 3 different sizes. You have the mini Alexa, you have the Alexa, and then you have an oversized Alexa. And they do them in a range of different colours, fabrics, prints, some really interesting designs. The reason that I think this is trying to do too much is it's a little bit too fussy for my taste, with the body of the bag, this satchel style with the straps that go over the front of it, with the braided handle or twisted handle. It is just a little bit on the fussy side, particularly if you then buy it in a bold pattern, a print, a fabric. There's a lot going on, and I know that I'm someone who can't sit here and say that they don't often wear things with a lot going on, but this for me is just too many things that are clashing. It's not a successful harmony as far as I'm concerned. I think that the twisted braided handle is more successful on the iris, for example. I think that the shape is more successful in the Bayswater. So they've tried to amalgamate a few different design details that I just don't think have a place going together. Now, is it one that's grown on me a little bit? Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. It was I probably would have given it a 3 out of 10 when I first saw it. We're probably now at a 5. And I think that the mini is the size that this works best in. As soon as you get to the oversized, we all know I love huge bags, but I just think it's too much. I think the mini is the best size here. They do it in a beautiful range of colours and prints and patterns and styles, but it's just not a win for me as Mulberry goes. And it's funny because I used to be just a Bayswater fan, zipped, belted, heritage, but I'm really starting to lean towards the iris now as well. And the more I'm seeing those, the more I'm thinking, okay. And of course, I also love the lily. We know I love a flat bag, so the Mulberry lily is also always going to be a win. Okay, let's catch up on one that's fairly new. And this actually has some of the design details similar to the Prada that actually I'm not a lover of. And this is the Fendi Graffiti. And this is a pretty new style from Fendi. And it is a shoulder bag, a relatively simple hobo bag when you first look at it. And then it has the Fendi underneath, which I think is in a metal plating. And to me, I find the style to be fairly cumbersome. I don't love hobo bags anyway. I know that they've had their time, and I know that those types of bags are starting to come back a little bit more, but I think there are more successful hobo bags. It feels very similar to the Louis Vuitton loop bag, which again, I'm not a lover of. Just that particular style, it's all a little bit rigid in terms of how they've tried to craft it out of one single piece almost, with a hole cut out here. I just don't love that. But what most bothers me about this bag, putting all of that aside, is the Fendi on the bottom. The reason being, when you flip it over, it is very gaudy. It is it's very in your face. It is very over the top, which is okay. We can do over the top, we can do in your face, we can do all of that good stuff. However, when it's flipped down, it looks like a tire tread. It looks like a tire tread. And I don't know that on a £2,000 bag, or a £1,000 mini charm, I want it to look like it has gold tire tread. Maybe that's what some people are looking for. Personally, I don't. I just don't think that the two aesthetics work together. Again, it's trying too hard. You've got a very simple bag that on its own would be very beautiful, and they've done some beautiful prints to go with this particular style. So great, love that for them. However, this Fendi on the bottom, it didn't need to be in the plating. It didn't need to be 3D. I don't like it. It's not appealing in the slightest. And Fendi's a really expensive design house, so it will be beautifully made. There's no doubt in my mind that this will be a beautifully made item. But is this Fendi's most successful design in my opinion? Absolutely it's not. You know, for this money, I'd far sooner pay a bit more for a baguette. I would far sooner go for a sunshine tote. Really anything but this. I just don't feel that this is a particularly successful design. I think it will be very popular. I think it will be hot on the influencer circuit. But if I had this money, would this be where my money was going? Absolutely it wouldn't. And finally, a bag that I absolutely love, but for me it's a price point issue. And this is one that's incredibly popular, and I can understand why, but it's a price point issue for me. the Dior book tote. Now, the Dior book tote has really gained in popularity over the years, and it can be a little bit divisive in terms of what people think of it. Some people think of it as a, oversized, overpriced bag for life. Other people see it as this incredible shopping bag and this incredible travel bag. And I can see both sides. Now, how would I personally use it? If money were no object, I'd be using it as an incredible shopper bag, an incredible travel bag. But for this price point, £2,400, for the fact that it has a lack of organisation and it's essentially just a bit of a pit, I think that there are bags that you can buy from other brands, maybe contemporary brands, maybe other fashion houses. I will look and see what I can find, but I think you can get more for your money elsewhere. And particularly given the fact that a certain amount of these are canvas as well. And don't get me wrong, I think that material bags absolutely deserve their price points. Do I disagree with people when they say that they shouldn't be the same price as leather? Yeah, I do. I actually think that in some instances, creating something exceptional out of material is much more difficult, and there's a sustainability element to material opposed to leather. So I like that. But I just can't see why this is the money that it is, except for the fact that it is from Dior. It's a lot of money. If this was, I think it's about £2,400 for the large size. If that was, 1,800, which I think is where it started when it first came out, I completely understand that price point. And then maybe the smaller ones sit around 1,500. I think that's a really, really good price point for what it is. And I think it would be exceptional value and a great way to get people into the Dior brand. Do I think that the 2,400, 2,500 that it is at the moment is reasonable? Not particularly. Like I said, I'm sure it's beautifully crafted. They do some beautiful designs. Oh my word. The florals, the zodiac, the cornflower blue oblique is stunning. They are beautiful, but it's just a huge amount of money for what it is. And I do think there are alternatives that just capture my attention more. So for example, Cassie has the green Gucci tote, and that is beautiful, stunning. I love that colour. The green is incredible. I love it, absolutely love it, and I think that's a great alternative. Over the years, I've seen Karl Lagerfeld totes or shoppers similar to this, and they're about £150. And yes, I know the brands aren't on par, but for what it is, which is essentially a bougie travel bag, a bougie travel bag can be from Karl Lagerfeld in the same way that it can be from Dior. So I just, for me, love the piece, struggle with the price point. I think it's a lot of money, but it's obviously incredibly popular. It's one that you saw probably 2 or 3 years ago. Everyone was on Instagram. Everyone from a fashion perspective who was a bit of an influencer had their Dior book totes and were flexing on the street, and it was probably 3/4 empty, and they had this huge bag, or they were going through the airport. That was quite often what you saw, wasn't it? You had people scooting through the airport with their Dior book tote on their Rimowa luggage. It's a flex, and I absolutely get it. It's just a lot of money, and I think there are other bags that you could buy for similar purposes. So there we have it, everyone. Those are my thoughts. Like I said, these are bags that by no means are bad bags. I don't own any of them. I've not tried any of them. I'm just giving you my opinion on what I think of them. They won't be finding their way into my collection. Of course, if money were no object and I could just buy whatever I want, then maybe the odd one. Probably actually out of this list, I would say the book tote would probably be the one that would find its way into my collection if money were no object, in a really beautiful floral print or something along those lines. But that is not the case, so therefore that will not be happening. Anyway, thank you so much as always for watching, and I look forward to seeing my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye now.